Hi, my name's Adrian Taffinder from Exquisite Crystal Carvings, and I'm here today to talk about crystal skulls. Now, crystal skulls have been kind of steeped in mysticism for thousands of years. There is a mystery of these 8 crystal skulls from Mexico, and I actually know some people who have owned them and seen them and handled them and played with them. And there's a lot of conjecture about them and things like that, but crystal skulls themselves have been kind of sought as a metaphysical telephone, so to speak, this psychic tool to be able to tap into source, tap into this informational field. We call it the Akash in some ways, but there is a field of information that permeates the entire universe and makes it one, which is actually written in the Quran. This kind of information has been spoken about in many civilizations, and crystal skulls have been one of the kind of metaphysical tools that they've used to tap into that. And I've loved crystal skulls for many years. I've been collecting them for quite a while. And you know, these are the typical type of skulls that you see out on the market. But you'll see, you know, and I'll do a close-up in a moment of these crystal skulls. They're just very basic carvings, right? This one, oh, what is that? I've forgotten. That's a jasper. And then here we have tiger's eye, yeah? And again, they're just not very realistic. The teeth on them are just, you know, very simple, you know, just very basic. Nothing kind of amazing. Another jasper here. And I mean, they're very pretty, you know, in many ways. And here I've got lapis lazuli, which looks like it's got a crown on the top, which this is one of the reasons why I like that one. And I've forgotten what this one is. But yeah, again, just very basic. All the ones that I look for everywhere are just incredibly basic crystal skulls, you know, with very simple carving. Really just made for mass market. Yeah, made as quick as possible to sell as cheap as possible, and just make money. Yeah. Which is fine, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. There's a market for it. But I wanted to be just a little bit different. I wanted something which had an element of realism to it, to be anatomically correct in some ways, but to be polished and produced to a very high standard. Because the market's full of cheap ones. And I couldn't find anyone, so I decided to, when I came to Bali, and I was very fortunate and blessed enough to be introduced by a very good friend of mine to some of the most, you know, amazing carvers here in Bali, where we produced things like this. So this is actually made with my incredibly amazing original Siberian blue. There's a lot of Siberian blue out there, but most of it's just cheap fake Siberian blue made in China. You've got to be very careful of that. It just doesn't have the same energetic properties. This is the original, made in the KGB military laboratory over 35 years ago. And again, you know, I'll do the kind of the close-up on these. The detail, we've got the cracks, the kind of joins in the skull, in the cranium, from when you're a child, so you know the skull folds in on each other to come out of birth. We've got real jaw lines, you know, a lot more detail, cheekbones. We've got teeth that actually look like teeth. Nose sockets that actually look like nose sockets. Now, I'm not even gonna, I don't think I should tell you how much this actual particular crystal skull cost. Just in raw crystal alone, there is thousands of dollars worth of crystal there. because we've got to account for the wastage and all sorts. And you can't actually buy these. Even if you said, look, I'm going to give you 10,000 for one, you can't buy them. These are going to be part of a project that we're doing called the Ashta Project. And we're going to be launching this soon. We're just finishing off the final details on the website. And Ashta is ancient Sanskrit for the word 8. And there was a book by Lynn Mattaggart called The Power of 8, which talked about this interesting phenomenon when you get 8 people together and select collective intention, kind of magic happens. So this is a scientific experiment to see if we can create small groups of 8 people, use exotic crystal skull technologies where we give each one of the 8 participants a crystal skull, and there's different tiers. This is actually one of the crystal skulls from it. These are about $1,200. And we will use them in ceremony. We'll go through various magical processes, using plant medicines. There's retreats involved to see if we can raise our level of consciousness, tap into the Akosh, but interestingly see if we can share consciousness between the 8 and increase exponentially manifestation and success and everything like that. But it's only for benevolent projects which are here to help consciousness and raise you know, the planet into a more beautiful place to live. And so I've got a number of products which I've been developing. You know, here's one of the other Ashta projects. Again, you can only be able to own and buy one of these through the Ashta project. You know, these skulls are never owned. They're in essence rented. You pay a deposit, a security deposit for the skull, some amazing kind of packaging that it comes with, which is made out of the original boxes that the crates that the original Siberian Blue came in, for the tier 1 skulls, which are these. And then we've got smaller skulls, which are for the kind of the different tiers, for different affordability. But what I wanted to talk about is these crystal skulls that we have here. So this is made by a brown obsidian. You've got all sorts of different kind of obsidians. Black obsidian, which is, you know, the most common one people know. In fact, I've got one here which is black rainbow obsidian. Again, I'll do some close-ups and probably edited them in for the video so you can see them while I'm doing them. And if you just, I have to use my macro lens because the detail on these, around the teeth especially, you know, this is what I wanted, is just something where you look at it and go, wow, that's amazing. Yeah, kind of thing. And this rainbow obsidian is rather pretty as well. And we've got a green obsidian. You know, obsidian is volcanic glass. And again, it's got the cracks in the skull where the skull contracts for birth. It's got an incredibly detailed teeth. And, you know, this is the one thing that takes just so much time. When you look and see and feel the detail of these and the amount of meticulous time and effort that has gone into carving each one of those teeth to such a beautiful and realistic fashion, you'll start to appreciate why, you know, these are a little bit more expensive than things like this. And ultimately, the crystal isn't the biggest part of the cost. You know, these are very, you know, cheap pieces of crystal ultimately, you know, not like the Siberian Blue. But, you know, to carve a skull this size and carve a skull this size, this probably takes 5 to 10 times longer to carve than this does. Yeah? And our incredible master craftsmen, obviously, I pay them for their time and their effort and their skills. And, you know, you can get very simple people to carve these, but there's only a few master carvers that can carve such amazing skulls to this kind of detail. Again, you know, you'll be seeing the close-ups. So I've got a number of these skulls that have been produced. Again, I've created this pendant, which has this beautiful silver kind of bridle. And again, they've actually got underneath a catch, which if you can pull off if you're careful. I don't think my nails can actually get under it, but there's a catch where you can, if you wanted, take them out of the bridle and then put them back in later. And this is a green obsidian, which is again very beautiful. And then I have the crystal skull ring, which is an amethyst. These crystal skull rings are phenomenal. This was made as a design originally for the Ashta project, and we've actually, I put one of the the amethyst skulls in this. So there's only one of these available, which is, I don't even know if I want to sell it, because it's got the Ashta symbolism on. But we've got other rings which have got, which I'll show you in the close-ups, which are all handmade. Every single piece of silver on these has been shaped by hand and then welded onto the ring individually to create this incredible fine detail. Each one, they're not cast. Some of these, this is a cast ring, yeah, and we make a wax carving. So this was originally carved in wax, and then used and cast in silver. This one is cast in silver and oxidized to give the little black kind of areas in it. And I don't know if you'll be able to see, there's the Ashta symbol which is carved behind the ring, which is visible through the skull. And these are just exquisite. So if you love skulls and you are after something rather special, something that's not just mass produced, just thrown out there just to sell them, and you want something that's exquisitely made by master craftsmen to the highest level of detail, something that you can look at and think, wow, that's absolutely beautiful and amazing, something you'd be proud to wear as a piece of jewelry rather than just a simple, skull stuck on your, dressing table or stuck on a shelf somewhere. I mean, I do use them on my altar and set intentions, but if you're looking for something special, look no further. These will be the best quality carved skulls that you will ever find on the market today, because that's what I wanted to produce, because I couldn't find ones to the standard that I was wanting. So I had them made. So thank you very much for listening in, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and ask me anything you like.